respectfully acknowledge the presence of Amida Tathagata entering this practice hall as we joyfully offer flowers of welcome. Pujo Shakanyorai Niuno Jo Satn Ge Na We respectfully acknowledge the presence of Shaka Tathagata entering this practice hall as we joyfully offer flowers of welcome. Respectfully acknowledge the presence of Tathagatas of the Universal 10 Directions entering this practice hall as we joyfully offer flowers of welcome. 本日ここにサンフランシスコ仏教会世襲となり、うやうやしく産物牽制の将来を仰ぎ、慎みて本年の春彼岸法要言修す。如来へこの真実心をもって法恩の誠をいたし、仏徳を賛嘆し祀る。声願わくば如来の大慈大悲心をもって無料の功徳一切至上の上に栄光した回らんことを。Today, on the occasion of the Buddhist Church of San Francisco commemoration of the Spring Equinox observance, we have reverently come together in a spirit of universal oneness, that is, Amida Tathagata. With deepest reverence and gratitude for the all-inclusive wisdom and compassion that is Amida Buddha, we reaffirm the three treasures. Namu Kie Butsu, we take refuge in the Buddha, the timeless life of wisdom and compassion, that is the source of awakening. Namu Kie Ho, we take refuge in the Dharma, the universal truth of impermanence and interdependence, the illuminating light that is the Buddha's wisdom. Namu Kie So, we take refuge in the Sangha, the community of people dedicated to living harmoniously in the universal truth, a life manifesting Buddha's compassion. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Naman Nam Naman Nam, Naman Nams, Naman Nams. Bussetsu Muryo Jukyo Sanbutsuge. From the Sutra of the Immeasurable Life, the verses praising Buddha. Ka 無尽寺の空語外体無明欲の生存用の二の四子人徳無量空君古代知恵寿命光明一層神道大仙願が差分在所法可動生じ未不下段不正上位解任精進尿税三昧知恵以上五世特分不行志願一切空空一切大安決しう分百千億万無量大小修行五者供養一切使徒処分不尿具道検証不逆非尿五者処分世界不不影無修仙道光明師匠変死諸国尿税精進異人難量量が差分国土第一五種奇妙国土小学即の内容任務闘争ガト愛民道断一切実法来生新年少女意図が国経楽安穏公文神妙税が心象本願の非力少々欲実法生存知恵無下上領子孫知が信行軽量心死食読中画行精進臨終仏 May this merit virtue be shared equally with all beings. May we together awaken the Bodhi mind and be born in the realm of serenity and joy. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Namo Amida Butsu.じりりた円満して奇妙方便交渉言心も言葉たなれんば不可思議の尊の奇妙性よ。 From the writings of Shinran, the hymns to the Pure Land, number 37. Amida's self-benefit and benefits of others have been perfectly fulfilled as the Pure Land. The compassionate means skillfully adorned to lead us to take refuge. I cannot be grasped by the mind or by words. It cannot be grasped by minds or words. So take refuge in the honored one beyond conceptual understanding. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Hi, good morning. And as you can tell, this is not being edited. This is here and now, together, at the Buddhist Church of San Francisco, with the talents of Kevin Yoza and the assistance of Minister's Assistant, Reverend Elaine Donlin. We were able to prepare this video to reach out, to connect the Sangha in the spirit for which it was intended, to bring us to awareness of the universal oneness of all life. And now we have these technical means to accomplish that which perhaps 100 years ago was not available. But spiritually, it's always possible to realize that oneness, no matter what the external circumstances in our life might be. So this video is being offered in that spirit of affirming this experience of the oneness of our life that we affirm as Namo Amida Butsu. And so with all my missteps and all the kinds of confusion that you might have been feeling as I was kind of scrambling around, I thought, well, this is just to indicate that we're not going to, this isn't an edited version, this is what it is, here and now, at this moment. Whenever you may be seeing it or hearing it or experiencing it, we're still always together now, in this present life that does not end with our physical death. Because I had this thought, dead or alive, life goes on. Does that make sense? Dead or alive, life goes on. We're just one little bubble or blip in terms of our physical existence. But life itself is indeed immeasurable. So today, or actually tomorrow, we had in our calendar the observance of the Spring Ohigan commemoration that somehow developed in Buddhist history in order to celebrate, I guess, the seasonal change of the equinox, which was intended to help renew our energy that endured through the cold winter and will begin to come to life again with the sense of renewal of the spring. So, that's the kind of circumstance that influenced, I guess, the adoption of a special ceremony to celebrate that. But here we are under the circumstance that probably hasn't occurred in our lifetime or even for decades or generations, where due to some unknown, well, I guess they could identify it as a virus that is going to impact, that can and will impact our life, whether it's physically, but in some sense we could say spiritually or psychologically, because of that big unknown of what COVID-19 can do to us. And so it's causing us to act differently, sometimes positively and sometimes not so positively, with all the kind of rush and kind of frenzy that you and I and our neighbors are feeling about the uncertainty of surviving through this pandemic. But hopefully to have a few minutes to stop and reflect, to think about, become mindful of a life beyond our basic creature instinct to survive. So rather than thinking in terms of survival, I would hope that as the Spring Ohigan was intended centuries ago, be a time of revival, of renewal of our essential spirit in the Dharma, in the primal vow that is dedicated to awakening all beings unconditionally. So that spirit is something that we have this opportunity, given the circumstances that we're trying to come to terms with, to stop and reflect, what is essential or important in life? That's what we're having to determine, right? Who's essential? What's essential? Whether it's materially or in terms of things that people do. Yeah, what's an essential activity of our temple, of our tradition? And what is it? I would say that it's listening. Listening not just in the physical sense, but listening to the heart of wisdom, a heart of compassion that is dedicated to transforming our awareness out of, as the Monshu Otani has encouraged, to break out of our ego-centered shells, to realize the connection, the oneness of our life. And so this is how, hopefully, this time together through this technological means is giving us to stop again, to reflect, to reaffirm the basis for which the Sangha was established, to awaken all beings. And so, in a way, this idea is to look at life in terms of this Chinese or Japanese expressions, Sayo Gauma. And there's a very interesting, to me, helpful parable that is associated with that expression, where one day, this horse, so there's this family that are trying to survive on their very simple little plot of land, their little farm. But they were enduring very difficult circumstances of a drought, of famine, and so forth. And one day, miraculously, a wild horse happens to come onto their property. And they were able to catch that horse. And so they were overjoyed in having this new tool that will help them to cultivate the land and hopefully develop the necessary produce to survive and help the village survive. So the family in the village was overjoyed, saying, how fortunate that we have this horse to be able to work with, to use on our land. So the son, the eldest son of the family, one day was given the responsibility to begin to train this horse in order to become a plow horse. And as he's in the course of trying to train and tame this wild animal, the horse kicks him and seriously injures his leg. So he became a cripple. And then the family was distraught. The village felt how unfortunate. We are very sad for your misfortune. Then they're all in sadness for this situation. Then a few days later, there's an announcement that there's an invading army from another country coming in. And so the army that was in this town, in this area, began to go around from home to home to recruit every able-bodied young man. However, due to the son's serious injury, he was exempt from being drafted to be taken away into a battle. And on this occasion, the family was overjoyed how fortunate it was that our son was injured. So anyway, that's the parable that goes with that story, Sayo Gauma. Interestingly, I recalled an incident quite a while ago where some of us may remember there was that major earthquake and this huge tidal wave that came across southern Asia. And thousands of people lost their lives. And that was devastation. This was before the northeastern Japan earthquake and tsunami. But anyway, I remember this was when I was still in Hawaii. So I had heard from an acquaintance an interesting situation where a friend of hers had been traveling in Thailand. And then one day, this couple, the husband, I guess, was bitten by a poisonous insect. And so, how sad, how terrible, because he experiences pain and from the bite, so that it began to become infected. So they had to transport him up to the closest hospital, but they were at a resort on the seashore. And so they had to drive for miles to get him to a hospital in order to treat his injury. And that was the day before the tsunami struck. And that whole resort was wiped out. So in a very closer sense, so it's not just a story, but these are ways that things that happen in our life actually occur. So how sad it was that he would be bitten by this insect, and how terrible that insect was for doing that to him. But then the next moment, having the wound injury treated, brought him to safety. And so again, what we might call the unpredictability of one moment to the next as how we might experience it, whether fortune or misfortune, who's to say? Those are just concepts that we kind of project on individual situations, not knowing or realizing that everything's connected, everything's changing from one minute to the next. So here we are, sitting in an empty hondo, just thinking about what it is that we are here to do. Aside from taking the necessary medical precautions, I think we're also here to reflect, to once again to think about the meaning of our living and acknowledge at some point we will go through this change we call dying. But the meaning of this moment, this life, this experience can be received as an opportunity for awakening to our oneness in immeasurable life, the pure land of enlightenment, of wisdom and compassion. And this is how we begin to appreciate all the things day in and day out we just take for granted. We presume there will be a tomorrow. But given the circumstances we're having to deal with, I see it as also an opportunity for deepening the sense of our being that goes beyond gathering in a designated place as a designated time, but as a sense of being together in immeasurable life. And that's where the meaning of the Pure Land could be appreciated, not as a belief or a nice thought or sentiment or concept, but a sense of being alive together with immeasurable life. That's the so-called, some religions talk about it as the bigger picture. The bigger picture that has no borders, no boundaries, but it is the heart of wisdom and compassion that is directed and received in the name Namo Amida Butsu. So with that, I join you. We are together. No matter what the limits of our physical being may be, we are together in heart. So this is a thought from our BCA Minister's Handbook that I thought I'd share on this occasion. Our life is filled with warmth in sharing life with others. It is a simple truth to learn, but a difficult practice to fully realize. In personal life, it means to act by placing ourselves in the position of another. And in community life, it means to be involved with joy and gratitude for the betterment of all. The true realization of happiness is based upon the clear understanding of life, which is oneness. In deep gratitude, let us realize the oneness of all life, the heart of which is compassion. Affirmed as Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu. Okay. Thank you for being wherever you are, as you are. Because your life, my life, Reverend Elaine's life, Kevin's life, the camera's life, they're all part of immeasurable life.
Thank you, Sensei, for your reflections for this morning's Ohigan service. I'd like to close with a meditative reading from the late BCA Bishop, Reverend Sanbutsuge. It's from his book, The Heart of the Buddha Dharma, and it's called The Eternal Now. In the beginningless, endless flow of time, each life is a mere ripple, existing only for an instantaneous moment and disappearing forever. But each life is a unique experience with beauty and truth, all of its own with no identical counterpart in history, and none absolutely the same in the future. Your life, my life, is attuned to the rhythm of the cosmos and to the heartbeat of reality. Each life exists in the eternal now. Each idea that is thought, each word that is spoken, and each action that is taken changes the whole pattern of the universe, for the universe is interdependent. Think, speak, and act, then always in the same eternal now, with compassion and understanding for your own enlightenment and for the enlightenment of all sentient beings. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namondots, 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 Namondots. This concludes this morning's Spring Ohigan service. I'd like to thank Kevin Yauza for providing the taping and the audio expertise, Reverend Kobata for his Dharma Talk this morning. Thank you. And thank you for tuning in to our YouTube channel. Thank you.